Hey everybody, it's David coming to you today from the top deck of our house here in Dallas, Texas. And it's a beautiful day here in Dallas. Sorry about some of the background noise that you may hear. They're doing some new construction here a couple houses down, and so you may hear some sawing of stone and brick and other things. So apologies for that. I just finished grading, I'm in the process of finishing grading lesson one. And I just wanted to share with you a few things about lesson one, some of my observations from your work this week. Okay? Before I do that, I just want to make sure that everyone in the class understands that in order to see my comments on your papers and on your discussion boards, you need to go into the grade book, click on the number grade for that particular discussion board, memo exercise, or assignment, and it will open up a box where you'll see my comments on the discussion boards. You'll see if it happens to be an assignment or a memo exercise, you'll see an attachment there. You open up that attachment and you'll see my comments in the margins. I spend a lot of time going through the papers and making a lot of comments on them, so please make sure that you look at those. I've noticed before that I've had students who make the same mistakes every week, and that simply tells me one of two things. It says they either don't care, they've seen what I've written, but they choose to ignore it, or they just don't go in and look at the information in the grade book every week. So I like to think that it'd be fixed, but hopefully you'll be able to go in and look at those and see what I'm talking about whenever I grade your papers. Also, make sure that you check all the announcements. I continue to post announcements in there every week. For this week in particular, for lesson two, make sure that you look at the video that I posted in there about memo exercises. It'll give you some tips on how to move forward this week on memo exercises, which are significantly different, by the way, than academic papers. Okay? The one thing that I noticed this week, and I want to chat about this just for a second, is as I was looking at the personal assessments that you did as you were looking at your servant leadership assessment this week, several of you made this statement in your paper. It says, I got 10 right and 8 wrong, or I got 15 right and 3 wrong. No, you didn't. If you answered them truthfully, you got every single one of them right, because this isn't a right or wrong exercise. It is how you view servant leadership, how you respond to servant leadership, and the only way that you could get any of them wrong is if you answered them dishonestly. And so I just wanted to encourage you, particularly on assessments. Assessments are not like academic quizzes. There is not a right or wrong answer. The right answer is the answer that you honestly selected for that. So everyone, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but if everyone answered them 100% honestly, you all got all of them right. Now, the results may be different than what you're looking for, but that doesn't mean that you answered the question incorrectly. It means you answered them correctly, and you may have some things that you want to look at as you focus on servant leadership. I can tell you, I didn't get all these answers right. I got them right because I answered them honestly, but I'm not the most empathetic guy in the world. I've been like that all my life. Chances are I'm going to struggle with that throughout whatever days the Lord has for me left on this earth. I have challenges with listening sometimes because I take my opinion and run with it. And so those are the challenges that I want to make sure that you look at, not as right or wrong answers, but look at those things as a lens through which you will view servant leadership in this topic going forward. Now, the other thing I wanted to make sure that you look at as well is as we go through this class, you're going to be focusing quite a bit on Spear's 10 servant leadership characteristics. And I would ask you to really look at those hard and to apply those as you go forward, and use this as an opportunity to assess your own leadership style, to look at the concepts of servant leadership as we jump into that in lesson two, and find ways for you to be able to look at those, to apply those, to assess your own ability in those given areas. So Just one of the key things, and I noticed that on several of the papers, again, there aren't right or wrong answers on this one. If you answered it honestly, you answered it correctly. Okay? Let's see. Oh, I'm going to be leaving town. I think I put this note in the announcements. I'm going to be leaving town on Thursday, and we'll be spending the rest of the term outside the country. I'll be traveling around in Western Europe, and but I'll still be totally accessible to everyone. I had a student one time, I don't know if I told you the story or not. If you had a class with me before, maybe I did. I had a student one time ask me, where was the oddest place, because they'd had a class and they know that I travel all the time. So where was the oddest place you ever connected with a student? And that was actually pretty easy. I did a satellite internet connection video chat with a student to discuss her paper from a hut in Ethiopia. So the message here is that if I can do a satellite internet connection video chat with a student from a hut in Ethiopia, probably not going to have much of a challenge in Spain and France over the next few weeks. Okay? I will, however, be about 6 hours ahead of you, so when you send me an email, just take that into consideration, that you may be awake and I may be sleeping, or I may be sleeping and you may be awake. So that may hinder my lightning fast response time to you on key issues. In the meantime, have a great week. If you have any questions for me, make sure you shoot them to me. Have a great week. Study hard. Talk to you soon. Take care.